Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Queer Ultimatum, Season 2, Episode 3. My name is Brittany Simon. We do philosophy through pop culture. We're using real people's lives to learn about our own. So remember that these are real people, and if you have anything spicy to say, put it down in my comment sections instead of theirs. So, they don't have to read it, but I would like to read it, and I would like to hear your thoughts. I think we just left off on the choice. So basically, AJ is about to pick out of the options that she has, which girl she's going to do a trial marriage with. Let's see who she picks.
Marie.
Oh, okay. AJ chose Marie right out the gate. They didn't even hesitate. Interesting. Marie. Okay. Let's see what happens.
I choose you, Marie, because there's just so much you can show me. I can see myself marrying you one day because you have so much to offer, and I just hope that you see that no matter what, you're gonna get 100%.
AJ made a nice little opening speech about all the positives. It panned to other people's faces. I'm not sure how accurate everyone's facial expressions are. If you know how editing is, sometimes they'll show a facial expression for a different sentence that happened or a different scene that happened at a different time. And they'll tell you, oh, that's the reaction in real time. I don't know that that's true, but the feeling they're supposed to be conveying to us is that everyone is kind of shocked. They're shocked she chose Marie.
I'm not happy.
Oh.
I was so set on the connection that I had with you. I had less dates than other people because I was just following my heart, and that sucks because I was almost robbed of the experience. Now I feel stupid.
Damn. So Marita basically expressed what we assumed she was thinking was that AJ was her only choice. And she kind of didn't date or bother getting to know anyone else because she thought AJ was going to give her what she needed. And then AJ chose Marie, which is exactly what Bridget's concern initially was. Is that hey, you're leading a few people on because some people think you're their number one. Yeah, I think that's why we're all shocked she chose Marie. At least in the edit, it obviously seemed like she was going to choose Marita. I guessed Marita yesterday or whenever I reviewed an episode. I definitely thought it was going to be Marita, so.
You're not stupid.
Yeah, no, not at all.
You were vulnerable and authentic to yourself.
Yeah, that's valid.
You did what was true to you.
I'm sorry. That was never my intention. I don't want you to ever think that my connection with you was just bullshit because that wasn't the case. I just feel more for someone else in this moment.
In the past, I've just been with people who tell me exactly what I want to hear because they're attracted to me. You were this is what I can do for you romantically. And for me, it was you were telling me exactly what I wanted to hear.
So Marita said what I think a lot of people were thinking, maybe even myself, that AJ was just making people feel like they were number one, so she would stay number one on their list. I don't know that AJ conscientiously made that decision. I actually think it probably was more a result or a consequence of toxic masculinity. It's giving men who swipe 500 times on a girl just in hopes to get one of those 500 girls to reply. And the mistake you're making is what if 3 or 4 of the girls really think you're into them, but you're not, you're just swiping. That's why I think people are so bad at dating with intention, because if you're playing a numbers game, then that's not intention.
Throughout this process, I've been connecting a lot with Bridget and Kyle.
See, good example is Pilar, Bridget, and Kyle were very aware that the 3 of them were interested. They were very aware that there was a triangle situation. They had informed consent in the situation versus the other girls had the simple consent of knowing they were all dating each other. But the other girls feel blindsided by AJ, unlike Pilar, Bridget, and Kyle, because they were all in the know.
Time just flew by and we're what? Just so aligned on so many things where by the end we're finishing each other's sentences, and she just has this hilarious sense of humor.
I came into this experience with Kyle and I feel our dates consisted of talking about how I feel you'd be a great match for my ex, but we were also forming our own connection and having a great time as well.
Kyle really snuck up on me and surprised me. On our first date, I didn't really think she liked me, so I was really excited. Our chemistry just exponentially grew. Every time I just wanted more and more.
I feel very seen by you, and I feel the same way, so I'm glad that you felt what I was feeling.
Interesting. Okay, I'm really interested to see who they choose. Pilar, I can't tell which one would be better, to be honest. I think in some ways ending up with Bridget would be good. They'd get sort of a vibe for dating the same kind of person. But then Kyle, for me, I'll just tell you this right now. I really like Kyle. I'm very attracted to her aesthetic. I'm attracted to her stability. I really love her energy. I'm actually physically, I can see Bridget is very beautiful. I'm not attracted to her personality at all. She feels irresponsible to me, and I'm not attracted to irresponsibility. So when people say oh, I'm very spontaneous, I personally attribute spontaneity to a lack of responsibility. I don't see it as fun and adventurous. I kind of see it as for me, instability, but that's probably just because that's how my autistic brain processes information. When I was younger, I used to think I was so spontaneous, but I was personally just traumatized So I think for me, healing taught me that my version of spontaneity was actually a cope, where I thought I was being adventurous and spontaneous, but I was actually just like coping. So when I got healthier, I just became so much more stable. And so for me, I think that's probably the association. So I don't mean to criticize everybody who's spontaneous, but I think even the way that Bridget talked about it, right? I don't want to lose the spark in the relationship. I want to be adventurous and I have 3 jobs, but I don't always pay the bills. You know, that personality, that attitude is like a little bit too young for me, I think. Pilar feels right in the middle, but I think she'd be in a healthier relationship with Kyle than with a Bridget. So let's see who she chooses.
Pilar, are you ready to make a choice?
I choose Kyle.
Yeah!
There's
Woo, 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 woo. Okay, cool. I think they're going to be a really good matchup. I really like Pilar's original partner, Haley, but I'm really but I'm really glad that she is with Megan. I think that's really cool. So, okay, I'm excited about this. I feel a little bit bad because I don't think Bridget has many more options. I think Bridget's other option was, hold on, I'm looking at my notes, Ashley, who's Marita's former partner. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Ashley was the only other person Bridget was interested in. I might be wrong, but that's my memory.
what I love most about you is that you know who you are,
Ding, ding,
what
ding.
you want, where you're going.
Yes,
Yeah.
you know who you are, where what you want and where you're going. That's the kind of stability I love in a person. Let's go.
I choose Pilar
For a
because
minute, the hesitation, I was like, are they trying to trick me? Is she going to choose somebody else?
we complement each other really well, and I don't feel like you're a safe choice. It will be a really good test.
You know what I love about Kyle is she's a woman of few words. Let me tell you, she is a woman of few words compared to the other girlies. And I kind of like that about her.
She would test, you know, whether it is me that she wants or if it's just a secure relationship that she wants.
Wait, Bridget says, I want to test whether or not it's me she wants or secure relationship she wants. Both? Maybe not one or the other. Wouldn't you always want a secure relationship no matter what? Plus your partner or your partner that helps you make that? See, is Bridget's words are an indication that she is saying, she's signaling, I am not reliable. That's where I'm confused. Am I mishearing it? Please let me know in the comments if I'm mishearing it.
Come back to bite me.
Okay. So, did you connect with anyone else?
Ashley, I feel like we both feel like we came out of left field for each other, and it was unexpected, but at the same time, you do have this just self-assured confidence.
Because sometimes in the past with Marita, I get in my head about like maybe standing out in my own way, but I feel like with Bridget, like, it just felt good to know that we are like so different, but like we matched up in so many other ways as well.
Interesting. So Ashley is very excited to be matched up with Bridget. They're a year apart. Bridget's 29, Ashley's 30. Ashley said sometimes when you're dating a Marita, who's 25, you can feel like you're almost like the side character to her main character, or it can be hard to stand out, or it can be hard to like be, you know, a person or be seen or noticed. And so she said it was nice that Bridget like noticed her in a crowd full of really great personalities, you know.
I choose Ashley.
I'm going to choose Bridget.
All right, Bridget and Ashley have officially chosen each other. Okay. Oh, I should be writing these down. Oh, shoot.
I'm constantly thinking about what I did have.
Oh, Marita said I'm constantly thinking about if what I had prior like was enough. It's interesting to see people coming on this show doubting their decision. And I think that's like proof you're not in your high compatibility relationship. Like you're not in love with your person, is that you would even think, oh, is there something better out there?
As like an ultimatum giver, thinking that like my ex had, you know, the work to do to meet me where I was at, but it has really opened my eyes that there's a lot of work that I can also do to like show up.
Okay, first of all, I really like that Haley said that, you know, when she came into this experiment, she thought Pilar was the only person who had things to work on, but no, she does too. And Megan looks like that hot mommy goth from the WWE. I love that aesthetic in a person.
It just went very naturally, and we were able to get really deep on topics that I wasn't expecting. I can be vulnerable, you can be vulnerable, and it is like a very safe space.
Honestly, this week was a lot harder than I ever thought it was gonna be. I just couldn't really think clearly. I wasn't surrendering to the process. Until I finally surrendered, I was able to really open my eyes that I needed to change. I'm just like really excited to see our progress and how things go, because a lot of our belief systems and like the way that we do things are so in line.
I choose Megan.
I choose Haley.
Okay, so super cute. I love them. I think they're the best pair so far. It's interesting the way they say, like, I could imagine marrying you someday. Like, I assume that's more for the show, and I assume that's more what the producers tell them to say. But now that leaves Brittany, Mel, Marita, and Dana. And now I assume Brittany and Mel are going to get together, which means Dana and Marita are going to get together. And I don't even know, like, are they kind of like the leftovers in a sense? Or is Mel going to end up with Dana, which I think would be really toxic? But I think Brittany hasn't shown interest in anyone else. So now I'm really curious how that's going to go. Let's see.
Does anyone have anything to say about this couple?
I feel emotional, but I have no choice but to like get through it. Do you know what I mean? Like I literally.
Oh, she like asked, does anyone have anything to say about the couple? And I was like, I guess she must do that for all the couples, but we don't see the edit, so.
Yeah, have to.
Who are some of the people that you made connections with this week?
I think Mel has challenged me more than anyone else here. I feel like you understand me. I can be who I am around you. I'm not scared of judgment. I do hate being vulnerable, and I feel like you have pushed me into that. As much as like I know it may be not the easiest 3 weeks.
Dana's already saying like, I know it won't be the easiest 3 weeks. Like she's already ready for a fight. Dana's like a struggle girly. You know what I mean? That's just like a red flag to me. I wonder if Mel's gonna pick her. It feels so weird to pick her given the connection I felt like she was having with Brittany, but.
That makes me feel really good to hear that for sure. So this week I definitely made 2 connections, one with Brittany, the other with Dana. Brittany and I connected because she was like really easy to talk to. I always felt like she was listening to me, and you are absolutely beautiful.
I feel like his Mel is a little bit more walls up. There's like less vulnerability going in. So it's interesting to see how the girls communicate each of the attraction. Like some of the girls, you can tell it's a little bit more like shallow and a little bit more deep in some cases, or a little bit more short and a little bit more winded. Like it's interesting to see everyone communicate why they chose this person. What about them did you choose? You know?
I think you challenged me in those ways, like making me not scared. You'd see that I'm overthinking and like stressing about something, and you're like, nah, it's okay, you're gonna be good, we got this. So that would be great to kind of push me and open my mind and my experiences to things that I've never tried.
From the moment that Dana and I met, I looked at her and said that she would be trouble. And she kind of like was taken back. She gave me that look that she's giving me now.
I don't like it. It feels toxic. Even the way she's explaining it feels toxic. The energy is toxic. I don't like it. But didn't she threaten to throw your food truck in the river? I'm not saying she's like the most evil person. I don't think it's a real threat. I think it's a toxic way of communicating that she probably was brought up with and probably is like the whole bubble she's in. But yeah, like threatening harm on someone, like, you know, if you do it in a really cutesy way with like no venom and no harm, it's not a big deal. Like, bro, I will literally break you, bro. I love you. I will break you. Like, that's kind of like whatever. But if you're like mad, which she was, Dana was mad at Mel. She was mad at her. And then she was like, I will throw your car. It's like, listen, okay, again, I'm not accusing you of anything because I think that language is so normalized in a lot of bubbles. I'm just saying it's toxic. And I'm saying like that for me indicates therapy before you should be dating somebody.
You are a triple threat. I think you're beautiful, mind, body, and soul. Thank you. You're intriguing to me.
Dana, are you ready to make a choice?
Yeah.
Dana does not seem enthusiastic. She does not seem happy. They show a lot more editing of Mel saying complimentary things to Dana than complimentary things to Brittany. But if Brittany and Marita end up together, I feel like, did they even talk the whole time?
I'm gonna choose Mel. It's very risky in so many different ways. It's gonna be a challenge. It's gonna be hard.
Why?
But I think we see each other.
Ugh, such negative language moving into a connection.
Really push me in ways that I don't think I've ever been pushed before.
I don't know if I believe that. I feel like they're gonna fight a lot. You know what I'm saying? It's easy. It's different if they say like, this is really hard and we're gonna do it together. But it really sounds like they're saying they're gonna fight a lot.
I choose Mel because we've gotten to know each other so deeply within all of our dates. I feel our energy and vibe is just so natural and we can be great together.
I choose Dana.
Oh, why?
I'm scared.
Dana just said, I'm scared. And she said, yeah, me too. Boo, you should have chosen Brittany. Brittany's the full package. That was so dumb. Brittany's literally the full package, bro.
Yeah, me too, honestly.
What?
Chose you
Marie said she's scared too. Why is everybody scared? Because they're toxic, bro. They're gonna fight a lot.
You weren't the safe choice at all.
Oh, great. You're not the safe choice. But like, what does that mean? Other people said that too, but I don't even know what that means in this context. Is it the editing? Why do I feel like they're gonna be so toxic?
And I think that's why I was so drawn.
Everyone has had a chance to choose, but 2 of you are still not paired up. Do you agree to choose each other and fully commit to the ultimatum?
What's the choice here? Do they even have a choice?
I am. It's kind of a lot, but I'm down. I'm with it.
Yeah, I guess so.
But who knows, you might find that the person that
AJ, now is not the time, girl. Now is not the time.
you kind of weren't looking for in the beginning could be the person that you needed in the end.
I mean, what was their other choice, right? Or did they leave the show?
Do you think you made the right choice?
I feel it is the right choice. I had a feeling about you since I've met you. I know who you are. That brings me like comfort.
Whatever is gonna happen organically, I want it to happen organically.
If we were very open-minded to each other in this whole experience, we can figure out a lot of shit together.
Okay, so Mel and Dana just like reaffirmed that they chose each other. It was the choice they wanted to make, and they're looking forward to the future. But don't have high hopes. They're very like, Dana's like, I could bring it out of you. if you let me, it's very like the language is very not my favorite.
It was a lot of emotions, a lot of people's feelings getting involved.
I'm like so sorry for how everything, I don't want to say played out because I'm really glad how it played out because like we're here right now, right?
Yeah.
But still, that whole thing just like kind of like turned me off completely. I was just like, I don't really understand what you guys are seeing right now because I've never seen that.
I like AJ a lot. She makes me feel very calm and safe in this brand new scary setting.
So Marie feels like everyone's assessment of AJ was out of character for her experience of AJ, and she was kind of like turned off. Like she got the ick basically from the way people acted about AJ. And that's probably why AJ ended up picking her realistically, because she was the only one without sort of a negative impression of her, which makes sense. But it's interesting that Marie didn't get that impression. But the edit gave us that impression and the other girls felt that impression. Maybe AJ was more authentic with Marie, or maybe she put on the F-boy persona more for the other girls. I don't know.
What are you looking for in terms of this trial marriage? Is there anything specific?
I know what you're looking for. I've heard it. Romance and sweet things. I'm like, okay, let me bring out my daddy energy and try to make you feel appreciated like you deserve. I think I'm just gonna focus on my new trial marriage wife, but I'm just overwhelmed by how everything played out, and it just seems like everyone was just sprung over AJ.
Okay, so they're having like kind of like their first date because they couldn't have an original date because they were never interested in one another. And Marita says she's relieved that she didn't end up with AJ, even though it's Brittany's ex. And Brittany was a little like upset that everyone was kind of sprung her words for AJ, but that at the same time, she's preparing herself for leaving this experience alone. I am getting a little bit of like a mismatch here. Obviously, we know they didn't choose each other. So it might be a little bit more awkward. I can't remember who it was in the last season of Ultimatum I reviewed, but there was a couple who ended up pairing up with each other and they learned a lot about each other. But then I think, if I'm not mistaken, it also was a little toxic because of the man. He was having like major issues. The one who was knocking at the door and being obnoxious. Do you guys remember what I'm talking about? I can't think of the names of the people, but I don't think this is going to happen here, right? I don't think I think they're going to be roomies and I think they're going to learn a lot about each other, but I highly doubt it's going to get romantic. But maybe they can learn a lot about each other through that experiment. Also, Marita says she really wants somebody who's like romantic, and she has this idea of romance in her head of like what love is and what it looks like, and nobody ever lives up to it. But we really need to deconstruct our relationship ideas because they are often given to us through capitalism, through like, spend your money, spend your money, spend your money. These false stories, these stories that are actually not that romantic. So we have to make sure that we're deconstructing like what is our goal. I always hear from like the manosphere be like, life's not a Disney story. Even if it was, a lot of the women in Disney do plenty on their own, thank you. And even if you go for the traditional stories where the women do rely on the princes, please know that the women are in those situations that are bad because of their circumstances. Okay? But overall, if you go for the new stories about Disney princesses, we don't need a man. So, you know what I mean? So, you have to decide which love story are you basing your relationship off of. I always tell you which Disney couple I love the most, and that's the couple from Up. See? You guys are maybe choosing princesses, which I get. I know, I get it. But my favorite couple is the one that stays together till death. He's with her until she dies. And then he learns to find himself again after her death. That's romance, baby.
She was her number one this whole time. I knew when she said that exactly where she was coming from because I know how she is. I don't necessarily agree that AJ robbed her of her time. I think that when Marita just like goes in, she's like all in. How do you feel about Kyle right now? Do you feel like weird?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Like, I feel like so weird that I pushed them together and now it's like, why did I do that? Because obviously it doesn't feel great to hear that they had good energy.
Okay, so basically Ashley said Marita tends to go all in. So maybe Marita cut herself off from other possibilities because she just went, I want AJ, that's what I want, I'm not looking at anyone else, which did a disservice to her because AJ didn't do that. AJ was dating multiple people. So Marita kind of did herself a disservice by like neglecting that part of her options. And at the same time, Bridget said that she sort of regrets encouraging Pilar and Kyle to get closer. And technically, I guess she could have gone in between them in a way, but I'm kind of glad she didn't. But now she's worried because, she's scared. I think everybody has a right to be scared that the person they came with they might not leave with, which you would think they would have discovered that beforehand. But sometimes you got to go through this. Isn't that funny? Like, this is somebody's real story. Like, let's just pause and zoom out for a second. This is somebody's literal story. Like, you think about our relationships and our life and what we've done, even as a YouTuber, like the way I've shown up with my relationships on the internet. But this is somebody's story. Like, oh yeah, I went to the ultimatum with my partner on Netflix, and people can watch us for whatever $99 a month it costs to have a Netflix subscription. What is it, $25 now? It's ridiculously expensive. For that much money, people can watch, strangers can watch me do a dating show. You know what I mean? It's just crazy.
Even just tonight, hearing everything you had to say and everybody else had to say, I feel like it makes sense for us to be in a trial marriage together. How is this place compared to where you live?
This is smaller.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is an upgrade.
Really?
For me.
Like, where do you
I
live?
live in a house, but
You live in a house? Okay.
it's like different. Has a lot more amenities.
Are you feeling nervous about anything?
No, I'm excited to know all about you, just know random things about you too.
I agree. Yeah. I know. I haven't even seen you with your hair up.
Yeah, you're gonna see that tonight.
Kyle is so like a woman of few words. It might feel a little bit like pulling teeth to get her to say something. A part of me really finds it charming. I think I find her authentic, which is why I like her. I'm curious if her communication style might cause an issue in Pilar feeling wanted or seen, because I can see this kind of communication style making the other person feel unwanted or maybe like neglected or maybe like, oh, are you as into me? Because like you're not enthusiastically talking to me. And so sometimes people can read that as like you're not interested. So it will be interesting to see.
I think we have to address the elephant in the room.
Is there one?
Yeah, I mean, how are you supposed to shit in front of someone that you're just dating on like week 1?
Yeah.
These are the real questions. You know, actually a really important conversation to have with a person during dating is bathroom habits. Do you poop with the door open or closed? Because open is crazy. That is crazy business. Are you the kind of person that wants to be in the bathroom, when your partner's pooping so you can talk about stuff? Because that's crazy. Are you the kind of person that poops while your partner's in the shower? Crazy activity. But like, people do that. I knew couples. I've known lots of couples, and I'm just like, absolutely not. Okay. That is private time. Nobody's involved. Let me think. Thank you. But like, these are good questions to ask on a first date or fifth date or whatever.
Kyle, she seems like she's a little nervous, a little anxious. Like maybe Kyle is regretting her choice. I don't know. I hope not, because I feel there's a lot worth it.
See. She said Kyle feels anxious, and I'm worried she's regretting her choice. I think it might be Kyle's the way Kyle communicates. You know, it does give that, but I don't think that's what it is. I think it's just literally her communication style. So keep that in mind when you're dating too. And if you're the person who is like Kyle, make sure people know it's like, hey, this is just how I am. It's not you. This is my communication style. I hope it's okay.
Luckily, it was
I would never picture you to dumping your keys down the chutes.
Really?
Yes, you seem so put together.
I'm not.
Oh my God, you're sleeping with your socks.
I'm not asleep yet. I literally told you to keep socks on.
This is weird.
I'm gonna wear my
Definitely
pajama socks.
strange.
They're in the bed together. They're getting comfy together. They're kind of having cute banter and stuff. They're talking about sleeping habits. Look, I've cuddle piled with my siblings, my friends, my family, my whole life. So I'm not a stranger to sleeping in beds with people. But I will say it can be hard for people. Things that do stand out to me is like Kyle's still wearing her watch, her earrings, her jewelry. And I'm like, I don't know if they've brushed their teeth and gone to bed yet. I don't think so, because Kyle said she's not sure where her electric toothbrush is, which indicates she hasn't yet done it. And her socks are still on. But, you know, stuff like that is so interesting to me, like how people sleep. I definitely I'm take everything off kind of girl. Like, I don't want to sleep in my earrings. I don't sleep in anything. I sleep in boxers at most. But like, I'm just like, get everything off me, put up my hair. I don't want to deal with it. So it's kind of interesting, like to see them with all their, though to be fair, my wedding rings stay on. I don't take those off. Some people could take those off, but I keep mine on. So anyway, that's kind of cute. They're like having a cute conversation.
Yeah, I do really like to go to the gym. I will say, like, you being a personal trainer, very intimidating.
No,
I definitely don't do everything right.
You do your thing. You don't worry about me.
You know what's funny is I was thinking about how good Megan looks, like how in shape she looks, and she motivates me to want to work out. And I forgot she was a personal trainer. So it's good that I just got reminded she is indeed a personal trainer.
I'm just so excited to do everything. This is an experience that I'm so grateful to have.
Ooh, Megan's so happy. Okay, her energy's back. She's excited. She's like intrigued. I'm so glad. I was worried she would be sad the whole time, but she seems ready to just jump in.
So thankful it was you that chose me. There's nobody else I would want to do this with. Today is probably the best I felt since coming to Florida.
Which is crazy.
That's great.
I'm so happy. I'm excited.
I'm not gonna lie, Megan gives vibes, like vibes. You know, she's giving me you know?
With anyone else?
I want to just do as much as I can with you. I want to get to know you. How do you feel about physical side of being in the trial marriage?
It is all based on the vibe.
Interesting they asked the physical side of the trial marriage, since I got the indication that they weren't going to cross that line. But now I think the question is good to ask. I think it's important.
If that is something that felt right and felt like it was like a part that was important to us.
Interesting. I wonder what they're talking about. Cuddling, hugging, holding hands, kissing, sex.
It's so like easily accessible.
Yeah, totally.
That like it can just happen like anytime, anywhere, whatever. Find how I can be a better partner, how I can support you. I wanted to make sure like we're on the same page.
That's very much the same page with me.
Okay, super cute. So it seems like they're on the same page, and I think they're going to be good about moving forward with stuff. I wonder if either of them, or at least Megan in particular, because she was so worried in the first episode about Dana getting physical with other people. I wonder if she's let it go in a sense because she saw more sides of Dana in a way. Like, I wonder if something got revealed to her through the process that let her let go of the anxiety of moving on from her relationship with Dana. I'm not sure.
I knew I was gonna choose you after the second date.
You are such a liar.
I swear. But I did have some reservations for sure. I think that when you immediately just started pressing me and you're like, just like, why the fuck do you have all these walls up now? Like I was just like, oh, okay, hold on.
I wonder if Mel likes Dana because Dana kind of breaks her. Like she inappropriately is like, what's up with all these walls? Which might allow Mel to give in. But I'm concerned, and this is just me speaking from like anecdotal experience. Sometimes we think love is a person being aggressive with our boundaries or being aggressive with getting to know us. Sometimes we think love is that sort of toxic, like pull me by my hair and force me to tell you my vulnerabilities. And I think as I get older and a little bit more healed, I'm very much like love should be patient and kind.
I think to me that was almost a little more reassuring because all that meant was that you cared. No?
I agree.
See, she said that moment was reassuring because it felt like you cared. Is that what she said? Let me rewind it. Because all that meant was that you cared. I think Mel's repeating a cycle of what she saw growing up, that love is something that's forced and rough and aggressive versus love is something that is patient and is kind, is never boasting. You know that, you know what I'm referencing? The little prayer. Let me bring it up. Actually, maybe people don't know about it. This is my Catholic days showing up here. It's Corinthians. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. Is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evils, but rejoices in the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. So this here is like what I was raised kind of thinking love was. And I think it's like really apt and beautiful and kind of stands the test of time. Though I'm not religious now, obviously. I think this is what's missing from this relationship. Like, you know, there is like too much, there's like a crassness to the dynamic. You know, I do like Mel better than I like Dana, but I think they're both crass in their own way. But I think Mel feels more authentic to me and maybe more, a little bit, her default personality feels a little bit more naturally kind. Dana, there's something about her that feels like more toxic than Mel. Even though I don't remember Dana's original story, Mel is the one who had like 4 moms and like all these stories and never a good relationship. So yeah, it's interesting. Like there's a more wholesomeness to Mel, I think.
I agree. I feel like you get me. You don't judge me. Be myself, and like the walls you kind of keep up in the beginning to like be cute. You know, you want to like keep it cute with someone for a little while.
Yeah.
I feel I just like already like got rid of that shit with you because you see me. I feel like I don't have to like impress you. That like, wouldn't even work anyway. We know that there's like a connection between us. We know there's something there, and I just didn't know like what would come.
You and I are gonna push each other to certain limits, and I think that we both need that.
Okay, yeah, she said we're gonna push each other to new limits, and we need that. So maybe that's what she's hoping. I wish she could have found those new limits from a kinder, more compassionate partner like Britney. I think Britney would have pushed her to those new limits in a kind and compassionate way.
Yeah, like this, right? How cute are those?
Yeah, that is what I was thinking of.
I think she was spooning me, and then I was spooning her. I like talked to her about it in the morning. I was like, feel about that. Was that too fast, too much? We both were on the same page of like.
Love the conversation. I love the consent. I love the, was that good? Are we okay? Checking in.
Bentley.
Gosh, I forget that some people have pets and animals and they come and move them in, which is an interesting conversation to have as well. Because like some people have very strong beliefs about pets.
Staying up and talking till like 5 a.m. was like what we both needed to be like, okay, like we don't have to like have all these walls up.
Yeah, they always feel like they're playing with fire a bit, those two.
Been a week and she wanted to date me. Every day all she does is educate me.
Whenever a cat's tail is up and arched, whenever he's swishing it so hard like he is right now.
I don't want to be that person because I have a cat, but why is your cat on the counter? You know what I mean? Like, okay, look, she's right near the bananas. Listen, Indiana is not allowed on the counters. Indiana is not allowed on the tables. We do not leave food out. We do not leave things out. We wipe down the counters. I'm always wiping stuff down because when you live with an animal, and I get it, like we've taken these domesticated little creatures and put them in our homes, and you know, I get it. And her little paws are in her litter box. Then all of a sudden she's all over everything. This decision to let your animal on the counter is crazy to me. That's a crazy decision.
It was just like eating at my soul, just trying to be happy when I felt like I was losing grip of the things that I love and care for the most. My ex.
Damn, bro. That's hard.
Do you need a hug?
Oh, Marita said, do you need a hug? Okay, I'm glad she comforted her. I was worried she was gonna not be there for Brittany. Okay. Oh.
I wear my emotions on my sleeve, so for me to just pretend everything is peaches and cream, and especially with how positive Marita is, she's very happy and very bubbly. I'm trying to be that, but then yet there's like all this shit in my mind.
I feel like my heart hurts. Like, I'm worried about like, I don't know, like, is everything.
She's basically saying my heart hurts. I'm stressed inside. I'm stressed about everything. And she said Marita's so bubbly and she can't be. You know, you can only be what you can be in the moment. Sometimes I look back on my life and think like, oh, I wish I wasn't so like this, that, that. You're just what you are in the moment. It's like that meme where it's like, I want to be like cold and mysterious, but I actually just like overshare and trauma dump the moment I meet somebody. You are what you are. Like, you know, you can work on some of that stuff, but sometimes you just got to be in the moment, what you are. And right now, Brittany's sad.
It just feels like I have no control over the things that matter the most to me.
Okay, so that's where the episode ends. Brittany said, I just feel like I don't have a control over things that matter to me. And there's a chance, of course, her and AJ won't be engaged after this. But I think when you're a go-getter, when you're successful, when you have things in control in your life and something changes, it is scary. But I think what's important is that we do the work to make sure that that control we had was not about holding on to the attachments, but letting go and letting things be what they're going to be, right? Like letting things be what they're going to be instead of trying to control it and making it something that's in your power. I do think, especially if you're a Brittany type of person and you are used to being in control and on top of things, you got to learn to let go of that attachment. Especially since like in the situation, she has no control over AJ and what AJ does, but she has control over what she does. And she should also at the same time, let herself feel her feelings. Being in control has nothing to do with pretending you're not sad. It has everything to do with reacting appropriately while being sad. So in other ultimatums, we've seen people like, you know, run across and slam on doors and like, you know, it's that spray paint our artist. Do you know who I'm talking about? Nick, was that his name? He was like a spray painting artist and he came over and he was like banging on the door and was like fighting with, it was crazy. It was the craziest thing I'd ever seen. And that's what we don't want. That's a lack of control. You are allowed to be sad. Okay. But I think Brittany needs to just like meditate, recalibrate, because that's really what's missing, right? These are our opportunities to focus, lock in, meditate, and recontextualize like how our body is perceiving things to allow ourselves to mourn the change. Big transition just happened. And I don't think Brittany could have predicted how she would have reacted given how it went. Had she ended up with Mel, I think it would have been different. But since she didn't end up with Mel, she, you know, is just having a different experience than she predicted she would have, which means that the control she even had in regards to thinking she would end up with Mel isn't a reality. Still very shocked that happened. Would have been curious how Dana and Marita would have handled the union, but now we don't have to find out, I guess. With that said, I'm going to leave it here. Let me know what you guys think in the comment sections down below, and I'll see you for the next episode. Bye-bye.